Hi, I'm Susan.
I'm Aubrey.
What have we got going on today? We got all these different decks. What's happening?
We're talking about the specialized deck and their specialized suits, and we got together all of our little kitschy themed decks because they are confusing to a lot of people. There are a lot of decks with specialized suits. The big issue is being able to tell what the different suits are, what they align with for the Rider-Waite, and being able to remember that. We have Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Hocus Pocus, Dungeons and Dragons, Nightmare Before Christmas, the Victorian Steampunk Tarot, and the Rider-Waite Smith for reference, because most specialized decks are based off of the Rider-Waite system, so we have these for comparison. We're going to start with the Buffy deck, and we're using all fives because they're the easiest to identify. There are different ways to figure this out. A lot of times the easiest one to identify is swords, because it's usually the sharp one. But in this one, pentacles is one of the suits. So that's the easiest to identify. You've already got pentacles.
Yeah.
Chalices. Chalices are just fancy cups. And then you have scythes and stakes. The scythes are sharper than the stakes. So, okay, that's the swords. And the stakes...
The stake is the one.
Yes. Yeah.
I wouldn't think that because Buffy uses the stakes to kill the vampire, so I would think that that would be the sword, but the scythe, I guess, would be...
Other than the obvious things, like, oh, the chalices are cups, the pentacles are pentacles, you can look at the imagery. So look at the Rider-Waite Five of Swords and the Buffy Five of Swords, and you can see that the scene is very similar. Another way is these suits are aligned with certain aspects of our reality and the elements as well. The swords are your mind, the cups are your heart, the wands are your soul, and the coins or pentacles are your outward reality, your body. The wands represent fire, the cups represent water, the swords represent air, and the pentacles represent earth. If you have, say, this Dungeons and Dragons deck here, it can be kind of confusing because you have intelligence and wisdom. Both of those are associated with your mind. And in this particular deck, you can't really look at the scene and say, oh, this is this and this is that. If you look at the Rider-Waite Smith,
Isn't the same.
yeah, with these, you would want to come up with some kind of mnemonic device.
My eye just started twitching.
A mnemonic device is basically a thing that you use to try to help you remember something, like a little rhyme or just something that you can associate it with. The only one of these that's obvious is strength, because if you're talking about your heart, your mind, your soul, your strength is going to be the body. That's the only physical part of this, because it is charisma, intelligence, and wisdom.
Okay.
All of these are internal. The suit of Pentacles is the only suit in the Minor Arcana that has to do with your outward reality. Everything else is inward. That's the only one that's obvious in this one, because it's the only one that's actually a physical attribute. All of these are internal attributes. With the Nightmare Before Christmas deck, we have presents, candles, potions, and needles.
Needle's sword, right?
Yes, the needles are the swords. The sharp ones, swords. It's also a fully illustrated deck. So, like, say if we had the Five of Potions, which is cups, and an easy way to remember that, it's a vessel that can hold a fluid.
That does make sense.
The potion bottles and the cups, the scenes are very similar.
They're similar.
If you look at the candles, they're still like a fighting scene.
Yeah! That's so different from the Dungeon and Dragon.
It is. The Dungeons and Dragons one just... It's a very nice deck. It's very pretty,
It's
very well
very
done,
nice.
very high quality
Yes.
cards. It's beautiful, but I would not recommend this for a beginner. This one's so easy. This is the Victorian Steampunk Tarot, and all of the suits are different kinds of bug. When I was first looking at this, I'm like, what should I associate them with? Obviously, the bees are swords because they're pointy. It's a little bit of a cheat. They have all of the traditional suits also on the cards.
You don't have to interpret. There it is. Thank God.
We also have the Hocus Pocus deck. It is pumpkins, candles, potions, and lightning. And this is also a Disney one. And this potions and candles, it's the same as potions and candles in here. Candles and potions are still wands and cups, but lightning is intelligence. And it's not anything sharp.
Alright.
With that one, you would have to go more with the association of air, as opposed to the sharpness of the sword.
Okay.
I don't know if I would really call this a fully illustrated deck. There's no scene to really say, like, what it would be. Even though that seems kind of like a scene, most of the suits, it's just pips. We're going to put all the suits together, just so we can compare. The traditional Five of Pentacles. Like, the imagery is, even though it's very stylized, it's very similar. You have, especially with the Buffy the Vampire Slayer deck, it follows along with the traditional imagery so closely. It makes it so easy. Swords. So this one definitely just uses pips. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but the scenes make it easy for beginners. It's almost the same exact scene. We have the wands, those candles, and the cups.
Those are some good looking decks.
Yes. I know some of y'all out there are probably getting deck envy right now.
They are.
This Victorian Tarot is a big deck. It's got that big deck energy.
It does. And who doesn't love big deck energy?
Anything that helps you remember will help you with other decks as well. Unless you're using the D&D deck. Once again, gorgeous, beautiful, love the imagery. It just...
You need experience.
Yes.
Like, for real.
Yes. High quality, beautiful imagery, great cards, just not for beginners. Good times.
Is it?
I think that's it. I think I've covered everything.
Okay.
I think.